Yeah.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the workshop of Board of County Commissioners. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, again, welcome. First thing on our agenda today is a judicial update. Judge Plewe and Mr. Hogue, come on down. Grab a microphone. And turn them on, get them as close to your mouth as you can, and you guys have the floor.
All right. Thanks for having us. I thought I'd start maybe today with we try to visit every year, just to give you an update, how things are going, check in with you, see if there's a relationship with the county. Travis, I've been spending some time lately talking, as well as myself, with some of the IT folks regarding camera replacements and the security system technology that the county's implementing. So I appreciate that time, as always, with other county staff. Few things that I thought I would just roughly talk about were our filings. Our filings over, and I'm going to use calendar years, so January to December of 25, over 24, which is our most recent data, is the calendar year 25 data. Filings are about exactly as they were the year before. Remained fairly consistent. We had a healthy decline during COVID, but the filings have since started to return substantially, and so we're pretty consistent on our 24, 25 filings. 26, the first quarter of 26 is strong as well, so our filings are remaining consistent for all the case types we serve, both civil, domestic, county, all of our county court cases, misdemeanors, felonies, traffic infractions, small claims, FEDs, all those types of things are remaining very consistent year to year. So for us, that's good. That's how our funding, of course, is based from the state of Colorado, is based off our filings for both our staff and our judicial resources as well. So filings are good. One thing that I really wanted to note is a substantial uptick in our jury trials. Our jury trials have been, particularly in the county court, we have doubled the number of jury trials in the first quarter of 2026 over what we did in 2025. Essentially, we have had a jury trial every other Thursday for the last 3 months, with no real break in sight. And so that means there's a lot of community engagement with the court facility. There's a lot of people being summoned for jury duty. If you come by on any other Thursday, you're likely to see anywhere between 70 to 100 people lined up outside the facility waiting to get screened to come in for jury selection. So our jury trial rate at this point is pretty unprecedented for the 20 years that I've been here. Judge Plewe is our former sitting county court judge and now our chief judge. I think would attest to the same thing, that our current jury trial rate is pretty extraordinary. And I don't see any relief in that coming. We routinely have probably 5 or 6 set deep per day for those Thursdays. So we have our pretrial readiness is on the Wednesday before. One inevitably always announces ready to go, and the other ones get shifted on. So there's a substantial amount of community engagement for that. In a conversation I had last week, actually with Travis and Phaedra, regarding the court security grant and funding for that. One of the things that Phaedra said was she had been called to jury duty and had to stand outside in that group of 100 people, which took quite some time to clear everyone. And Travis and Phaedra asked if I thought that additional security personnel would speed that up. And my initial response was I didn't believe that it would actually speed up the screening process, because the magnetometer and the x-ray machine can only go so fast. We can only do so many people at a time. But Judge Plewe and I were talking this morning about our visit over here, and what he did remind me of was that we had modified our hours to the public by opening now at 8 instead of 7:30. We used to open at 7:30 and would open for the public then. We no longer do that. We open at 8. And part of that was during some budgetary tough times for the county and for the sheriff's office, we had agreed with the sheriff to limit our hours. And so we began opening at 8 a.m. instead of 7:30. A lot of our jurors, rightfully so, show up early. And they show up at 7:40, 7:35, and then they wait and for the building to open at 8. And so our line gets longer and longer. I believe if we probably were able to open earlier, that we could probably speed up that jury selection line a little bit more than what it currently is now. But part of our agreement in that was to limit the number of overtime hours to the sheriff's department by having hours that supported their deputy time, as well as not going past 5 o'clock for our business hours. And so that's an agreement that the chief judge and I made with the sheriff to help limit some overtime costs to the county, particularly when our court security. So having kind of thought a little bit more and talked with Judge Plewe this morning, there is probably a way to speed up that jury line if we were to be opening at 7:30. But at this point, I don't think we have the security personnel that would support opening 30 minutes earlier based on our 3 full-time deputies that we have there now. They come at 7:30 to basically screen the building, do the perimeter, get everything set up, and then they're ready to open at 8. Of course, they have to go to lunch. They, have vacation times they take. The sheriff then is forced to supplement with someone from the detention facility. So, just being a good partner with the county and their resources and the money sheriff's office has to spend, we had opted to regulate our hours backwards. If the county does apply for the court security grant, which Judge Plewe and I are both in support of, and there is an additional resources and deputies available to the courthouse, I think we would be open to reconsidering reopening at 7:30 to help alleviate some of that congestion for our jury trials, as well as opening up that possibility for personnel for both probation and trial court to meet with the community, that where after 8 o'clock meeting time is not convenient based on their employment, based on childcare, based on school districts, where it gives people 30 minutes to come in and meet with our collection staff, our self-help center, our family court facilitator, meet with probation staff. So I think there is some community expansion of services if we were to return back to that. But I think that would be really contingent on a successful security grant and additional deputies being present at the building. Otherwise, 387-foot building end to end, 30,000 square feet, 3 guys is pretty tight there to cover. We typically anymore have at a minimum 2 courtrooms running almost all the time. County court is fairly non-stop all the time. We do have a part-time magistrate that's there as well that conducts court on Wednesdays and Thursdays, largely domestic docket. So we do have a fair bit of court activity going on that would be beneficial for some other security personnel as well. So
They're often on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We have 4 courtrooms running simultaneously. And if we want to make sure we have at least 2 deputies in the building so that one can be at the door while another is able to respond to the courtroom.
And I think the way the sheriff has the personnel assigned now is we have someone basically monitoring. We have about 52 to 55 cameras. Jim can probably correct me on that, 52 to 55 cameras. And we have a deputy that is basically assigned to monitoring those cameras at all times as we have someone watch the front door, because that way they can monitor all of our courtrooms, our Sally Port penetrations, as well as the Sally Port in the back for transport, and our holding cells that are inside the courthouse as well. And so I think it's pretty important that we have someone monitoring that just based on the size of the facility and the number of cameras we have. So if we have an individual running the magnetometer and the x-ray machine, we have an individual assigned to the monitors, and then we essentially have a deputy that roves. So.
Okay. So this court security grant that you're talking about, I mean, in the past, it was like, and I can't remember, but it was like 3 or 4 people, and it's been reduced to like one now, correct? Is
So
that
you have no money, you've received no money from the grant now.
correct? But
Montezuma
it's,
County, yeah,
it's
transitioned out of the,
been reduced to
Correct.
where we're funding the entire thing.
you are, the county, the sheriff's office is funding all 3 deputies that are in the facility now. That is correct.
So why is it, well, I think I know what the answer is, but just for the public, why has it been reduced significantly or to nothing?
So every year, the Colorado State demographer releases statistics on the basically viability and economic stability of every county in Colorado. Montezuma County over the years has transitioned to what was a score of 3 or 4, which is our highest priority counties, meaning that you would benefit more from those funding. You have now transitioned to a score of 2, which places you outside of the priority counties that the commission assumes. And so, La Plata County has been outside of that demographic, and just this year, Archuleta County is now no longer in that highest tier of scoring either. So
Which then
that-
just reduces the state's funding mechanism, correct?
what it does is it removes Montezuma County from being in the high priority consideration. So you can still apply and you can
Right.
still be considered, but you may not receive all or any funding.
Right, which is where we're at right now. We
correct.
haven't,
Yes,
I think
sir.
it's been 2 years since we've received any funding.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. You
Okay.
are in 2 with a notation this year of still being in high consideration. I believe there's $2.5 to $3 million available, and what they have historically done now is move to all personnel costs and granting basically equipment costs at the very tail end scope. So they pay for bodies first statewide for all the counties that are the highest qualifying. And then if there's any remaining funds, there's a portion of that that goes off to cash emergency. So say should this district end up with a huge case that would require a lot of law enforcement resources at the building, we could apply for the grant that would allow the sheriff's office to have some additional personnel regulated to the courthouse for a specific event. So, yeah, it's, and, the legislature, tough budget year for them this year on the state level as well. So, of course, we worry about not expending all the court security cash funds from that fund as an annual basis. So I think they're gonna deplete the money as best they can this year in wards.
okay.
When's that grant due?
April 16th is the deadline, so that is
3 days.
Next week?
Thursday.
Or, yeah,
Thursday. Yeah, I think it's Thursday, end of day. I believe it has a 5 PM cutoff date for that.
okay.
And as you know, the county has, in past years, benefited from that grant, both from personnel and equipment, as well as when the new courthouse was built, we went into the court security cash fund for a second ask of money during the construction of that building to equip it with the majority of all of its safety equipment, card readers, cameras, detention equipment, everything that's in place that's security-based, including the parking lot. The fencing on the parking lot and the secure gate was all paid for by the court security cash fund.
Okay,
Yeah, so over the long haul, we have benefited quite a bit
We have.
from that.
There has been, yeah,
It's
long-term
just a- It's just a
benefit.
shift.
It is, and when Montezuma County went from that 3-4 priority to the 2, you get kind of a shot over your bow warning, which is a 50% of your request the first year you went in, which was a bit of a shock, frankly, to the sheriff and I, because I had not seen the state demographer's data, and so was unaware that we had went from a 3 to a 2, and they made the award. I myself had several conversations with the state court administrator's office as well as some members of the commission to talk about the warning mechanism that they should be putting in place to let counties know, because it comes as an off-budget cycle time for you to be able to have to pivot and make an adjustment when you lose money of that nature, because I know it was frankly alarming to the sheriff and I both that 50% of the money was not awarded in that last year you got money. They have since changed their notification system and how they notify, which is how I knew early that Archuleta County was no longer gonna be in that high priority. But it doesn't do it, it would have been helpful to know that back then, because I think it left the sheriff and the county in a bit of an awkward place trying to determine what to do, because it was quite unexpected.
Okay.
Any, we do have an ask as well.
Yeah, we do have one ask, and so we're great, well, while we're talking about that funding, I think it's important to let you know that last summer, the sheriff's office discontinued pretrial services. We got very creative with our community partners, and we're able to set up a monitoring program for individuals. These are typically individuals who've been arrested for their second or subsequent DUI offense. It's required by statute that they be monitored. We also use it to monitor other individuals who've been charged with crimes involving alcohol. So they're tested, monitored. Unfortunately, this summer, the grant funding that we were relying on to pay for some of these individuals to be tested, we're losing that. We will still, as required by statute, order individuals to test, but we are concerned about their inability to pay. And that is a community safety issue that is going to be left. There's a gap there. Right now, individuals are ordered to test, they're testing, they can't afford it, it's paid for, but we're going to lose that funding. That was grant funding, that was federal money,
Correct.
and we've lost that.
So is that the ask?
No.
No?
That's not
That's
the
not
ask.
the ask.
That's
That's
just more
That's
information.
just to
That's-
let you
okay.
know
Yeah.
that we were relying on pretrial services
Yep.
as provided by the sheriff's office. We lost that. We got very creative and we filled the gaps. And now our creativity
Has come to an end.
has reached its limit, so to speak. And so you just need to be aware of that. Just in
So what do
transparency.
you do if they can't, if they're required to test, they go test and they can't pay, therefore they're not gonna get tested again because they can't pay for it? What do you do with that person?
They'll come in
'Cause
front
it's-
of us on a revocation, and a judge individually will have to make that determination as to whether or not that individual can pay. We don't jail people in this country for inability to pay.
Yeah,
So there's going to have to be, I'm assuming, speculating that there'll be hearings related to whether or not an individual can pay or not, whether they're following through, whether they're reporting. That'll be an issue. It'll just, we'll do the work because that's what we're there for, and judges individually will make that determination. But that is an issue that is going to come up. We were able to transition fairly seamlessly toward a private, community partner-based program, but we're going to lose that funding. There's some individuals who can pay, and they go and they pay, and that's it.
some that cannot, or,
Correct.
Right. And that's a June 30 end date for that.
yep. With the
Just
fiscal
wanted
year.
to make you aware of that. We're not asking. The one thing we are asking for, I'll let Eric ask this one. That is an interesting ask. First of all, generally, we are very pleased with the facility. We appreciate the maintenance staff, county administration. It's a good place to work. It's clean, kept up, and so we're grateful for that. But we do have one ask as it relates to that.
Prairie dogs.
You can have all you want.
We actually
We
have that
actually have a
resolved,
plan.
because it's already been planned.
Perfect.
That's an easy one.
They've infiltrated the Sallyport area in the back. And so if you can imagine what it sounds like for our juries and for our judges and staff that sit across the back to hear all the prairie dogs barking.
So let me tell you, it's not an easy one, because to eradicate prairie dogs, I don't think we'll ever be successful anywhere. However, because of the vector control that we're dealing with down at the landfill, this has been an ongoing conversation for us for the last 4 months, 5 months, guys. So we now are working with the USDA, and we're going to team up with them. They do have a way to manage manage them, and so we,
Actually, I had a phone call with them last week, so.
we will be moving forward, and actually, the court where you all are at, that was on our radar just as much as the landfill. So we already are aware of it. We know about it. It's just, how do you,
Right.
I mean,
No,
it's,
Yeah.
we both lived in the county long enough to know that prairie dogs are prairie dogs, but it is becoming, we're becoming overrun.
no, trust me, we
Yeah.
drove by there also, going to the sheriff's office one day, and I looked across there, and I'm like, holy cow,
Yeah.
what is going on here? So we've had the conversation of, well, you guys need more parking because you have more people coming. If we take out another 100,000 square feet and make it into parking, we're coming up with all kinds of ideas. And actually, I'm really not kidding, because parking was one of the things that we talked about, shaded parking for another solar system to help. The conversation got really large. So if that's the ask, it's easy. We're working on it, and hopefully we get it taken care of in the next.
Hopefully this works.
Yeah, that is, and we recognize that it's a sensitive topic, but, we thought that if that's our only real gripe, that I'd say we're all doing pretty good for the courthouse. Otherwise, like Judge Plewe said, the facilities, the maintenance team is great. You and I have talked about them before. They're responsive, everything. I mean, it's good. I've been working with Jim and his staff on security camera replacement and integration into the system the county has embraced to hopefully reduce ongoing maintenance costs that we have now, because it was a private vendor that put the system in when the facility was constructed, and transitioning to something that is more integrated with what the county does and can manage in-house, I think will be great. Travis and I have split some invoices recently and some shared costs over there, just because it was stuff that needed to get done, and we wanted to be a good partner in trying to help get some of that facilitated, so.
And I will let Eric also, before we leave, report on just the number of employees that we do have
Right.
in the building. That is, these are good paying state jobs, and it does benefit the community.
Yeah, we are. We have just shy of 55 personnel between trial court and probation department over there. We have essentially, we have basically 2 people that are part-time. The remainder of the staff over there are full-time employees that, range from our court staff, both in the courtrooms and the clerk's office, to our public service staff that deal directly with the community, some specialized program staff, and then, of course, across in the back between court administration, our judges, and our legal support. So we are full in the courthouse. I think we have two free desks in the clerk's office space, and we have, I believe, 1 probation office left in the probation department. Judge Plewe said we have 3 of our 4 courtrooms full-time. 1 is with a part-time magistrate, which tells me that our 20-year prediction when we built that building, so that was in 2017, so we're coming up on 9 years, was that our numbers were pretty good on what we thought was going to happen over a 20-year window, which is the data we're not really good beyond about 20 to 25 years of data prediction for caseload filings, because there's so many things that can happen within a community, and it's kind of socio and economic factors that take place. But for 20 years, we're pretty good with our predictions, and I think that we're right on track with what we thought we were going to have. As for parking, back to the jury thing we were talking about, which we don't see, I think that there is a welcome need for additional parking at the courthouse. We ourselves staff parking. We had asked the county, there are some spaces which are essentially kind of on that southwest corner of the building where the dumpsters are, that we had lined out. So we've had some staff move to park there out of the main lot, because we're running out of staff parking as well. We have, I think, 3 spots remaining. About the number of spots we have left for humans to sit in the office is about how many parking spaces we have left. But if you've come by on the big jury days, cars go into Osprey, they go onto the street, they go into Park and Driscoll. I don't know how many end up at the sheriff's office, but they do end up elsewhere.
Well, like I said, believe it or not, we actually had the engineer actually gave us a kind of a schematic of here's where it could fit. And we kind of actually have it laid out. We don't have any funding in it for this year because we're just trying to fix the parking lots that we do own. But we are thinking about it. And it's just a matter of how do we put this into works and financially funding it and then getting it done. But it is on our radar. We are looking at it, but the prairie dogs,
Okay,
we're
well, thank you.
we're taken care of.
Appreciate it.
So-
Thank you.
And
That's-
one other thing I will just mention that we are doing that you may find of interest is we've established a law clerk position where we bring in a new attorney for at least a year. It's only a year contract, that's it, done, to try to encourage attorneys to practice law here in what really is a legal desert. We're also participating in a law clerk program through the University of Denver where this will be our third year of having 2 interns come down for a month and a half to experience life in rural Colorado. So we're doing our part to try to get attorneys to come here so that our citizens don't always have to go over to Durango to find attorneys. But that does take up space and parking.
It does.
Um,
But
kind of-
it's definitely a worthwhile effort, for sure, to bring people into rural Colorado. And our last one, while he's remaining in Montezuma County, he bought a home here, he lives here, he's starting a business here as well. His practice is a little more specialized in environmental and water law, but he is staying in Montezuma County. So that's a win for us, because I think down the road, there's an opportunity that, his choices may expand to some other legal services here, but it gives us a good roadmap for others that we have coming in. We have interviews coming up, I think, in the next week or two for the Oliver's replacement. So we are trying to bring some additional services in the ways that we can.
Do you have any questions for us? Comments?
No, I mean, I think through the years, for me, I mean, obviously this will be my last year, but we've worked through a lot of issues over there together, and it seems like all of them have been resolved. And I know I won't be able to get this one resolved, but at least the plan will be laid out for you all. It's just a matter of finding the funding to move forward with some of that other stuff, which I think, we'll figure it out. One way or another, we'll figure it out. But I think it's been a good relationship. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate the facility and the support and just the dialogue that we have.
Yeah,
We feel comfortable calling if we have a need. So thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate
All right.
you guys coming.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right, next up, we have our discussion for our SRS funding. Do we have all 3 schools represented today? Come on down. If one of you could grab that other microphone, or you can just pass it back and forth, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
Both of them are on, but pull them forward so they don't reach out very far.
If you can get as close to your mouth as you possibly can, it really works a lot better. But again, this is our funding. We finally got some SRS money back. It was reallocated in, I think, November, December of '25. So we finally got our payment, which is good. It's taken a lot of conversations with a lot of people back east to get them to understand what SRS and PILT actually stand for, because there's a lot of people on the east side of the Mississippi don't even know what the acronyms mean. So with that, obviously 25% goes to the schools, 25% to road and bridge, and then 50% falls within the discretion of the commissioners. I believe last time we gave all of it to you all because it was pretty dismal or pathetic or whatever you all want to call it. I'll call it that. And the way you wanted your allocations was just split basically equally, the way I remember it, between Cortez, Dolores, and Mancos. So we've done it differently in the past by capita per student. So really that's the first conversation that we want to start with today is your 25%. Have you guys had a conversation internally? How do you want to do it? Or
Real quick, Commissioner, the allocations that's in front of you is set by statute.
The
and pupils.
25%.
Yes, but
Yeah.
per school, so it's set by pupils,
Oh, I'm sorry.
pupils, or pupils within the school, I guess. And that is set by state statute. We cannot deviate from that.
Okay. So there you go.
Is that-
Questions?
Is that new this year, Travis? Because last year we did
Yeah.
it equally last year,
Yeah,
so
when we-
is that new statute or,
I didn't look at the date,
okay?
but when we look it up, Rob can help us out here because he actually brought it to our attention.
Is that, yeah, there we go. It's not new statute. We just reviewed the statute again this year, and I found it in there, so
Okay.
we did it that way. And I think last year, part of the discussion was it wasn't very much money from the state or from SRS, so we hadn't looked at it, but then when we fully reviewed the statute, it has to be per pupil. And the numbers I used were from the state for all three districts.
Hi, I'm Audrey Hazelton. I'm the new superintendent in Mancos, so it's just nice to meet you all. I'm new to the county. Just a quick question for which count numbers. We just wanted to know if it was the total count or the FTE. Do you know which number? it
Come
was?
on,
I'm just
come back
curious.
on down, Rob.
So I'm back. Just so you know.
I used the state total numbers for, from the, believe the Department of Education. Yeah, I just looked on the website and used the same number for all three.
Okay.
Are they close? Are they way off or what?
I don't think that they're that different. I think, there's just two different numbers. Some include preschool and some don't include preschool. And we would prefer that the preschools be included in the number. So I don't know if I can see the numbers up there.
I think it's K through 12 is the way the statute
That's the total
reads, which
count.
is not.
So it does include, it just was more for clarification. It's.
And I can follow up with you. I'll send what I sent, what I
Yeah.
included in that.
That's fine.
So yes, to answer your question, I guess, because the way I described it is exactly what we have done in the past. So I guess we're going back to following the statute of
That's right, Chris.
the federal law, which this money does come from the feds. But, I mean, you can see with all of the advocacy that we have been doing and the outreach we've been doing, we finally got this thing reauthorized.
Well, we're
Because
happy
it
for the
was,
money.
it was a
Definitely.
tough deal to get people on the eastern side of the United States to really even understand what it is. But through a lot of work and a lot of work through CCI in the state, we've been able to make sure that it's done.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had one more question about that, just because I was doing some research. In that reauthorization, does that include, there were some notes about it being some retroactive in 2024. Was that a part of that whole effort to get it reauthorized? That there was
So-
some retroactive. Does this number include
You're gonna
some of
have
that
to come back down here. So
retroactive?
this was
Just to, kind of- so for predictions for
25,
next year, to know.
the way that I understand it, so in '24, I believe we only received 25% of the allocation.
Okay, right.
So in this year, '25, because this is what we're talking about, '25 funding,
Mm-hmm.
and we received 100% of the allocation if you use the formula, correct?
Correct.
That we were allocated. So
Okay,
this is what we have.
great.
And again, it was, 2 years ago, it was terminated, it was cut off
Right.
until we put together a group, which we will go back to Washington again in September to advocate again, to educate the people on the eastern side of the United States what PILT is and what SRS is, because they really do not know. They have no idea. So,
No, that's great. I was just clarifying as I'm learning about it, so thank you.
yep. So it's additional funding. So yeah, anything that we can do to help our forests for watershed, to get more logging out of there, to get more, I mean, the resources that we use off of the federal lands is what helps to pay this. So talk to the people, talk to people out there, get more, help us get more. Questions?
No.
Okay, so that's your allocations. Obviously, Mancos I mean, the numbers are the numbers we can. It is what it
We
is,
know that-
Dolores.
We know our numbers. That's fine. Fewer kids.
RE1 will get the lion's share of it, obviously, because you have the most enrollment.
Thank you.
What is your enrollments? Do you know offhand?
Including charter schools, which this count has, we're roughly a little bit above 2,100.
Yeah, almost 2,200, 2,178.
Yeah.
The beginning of the year, we started with 600 plus, and we have some issues in the public education, as everybody does, and kids are dropping. And so we're about 590 now.
Yeah, and we're about 10 students down this year for our total count. We're at about 483. But it is across the state. Numbers are declining, so you'll see plenty in headlines about the budgets for education right now. So
Yeah. Is internet taking some of your students? They homeschooling?
It is, because it hasn't been an option for our local school district, but it's something that we're pursuing vigorously, and we plan to have a hybrid model for this coming school year.
yeah, we're doing something similar, there's some ways that we can have students doing online and in school, where we recoup the dollars versus them going to a non-district school, online school, where those are housed outside of our community, where we can recoup that dollars and then support our kids here in the community.
And just a little background, and this is in a nutshell, the state doesn't monitor a lot of those online programs, and so they are, in essence, maybe easier for students to get through education rather than maybe the rigor of public education. So we are finding a huge trend and an uptick in those online programs being started in Colorado and across the nation. This is not a Colorado problem, and our kids are taking advantage of it. Parents, some families are more mobile now. They travel more, and they want online education, so we see a huge piece of that. And it is really affecting public education, and we're all three in the same boat and trying to offer online programs that we can benefit from, monitor our students, get a high graduation rate, and still offer those kids some flexibility, some families flexibility in their education.
Is there a possibility of abuse in those programs? I mean,
I think there's a possibility, yes.
okay. I didn't know quite how to phrase it.
All right, well, that's the 25% and 25% per the statute. Now we can talk about the 50% that's within our discretion. Like I said last year, since I've been here, it's kind of, we went back and forth. We've taken it 1 year, you've taken it 1 year, we've kind of went back and forth. We did do some upgrades down on G Road because of the traffic issues with buses and people migrating into G Road, so we fixed that. So really that's, per the statute, that's the other part of the discussion that we have to have. So I'll open it up to you all, and then I'll give you our side of the coin.
So I'm going to keep asking newbie questions.
You just keep
So we have
asking away.
another lump of money that we can advocate for how that might be used or utilized
You
as
do.
as a group.
You can advocate as a group, and then we can advocate as a group to keep it for Road and Bridge.
Right.
So
okay.
it's just a matter of, and in reality, it all affects
Absolutely.
all of us
Yeah.
the same, because if we can't get the buses to get the kids to schools, I mean, it's kind of equal. So yeah, that's the other part of the statute. It says that we have to have this conversation. We have to have you in here for the conversation. So you can ask all the newbie questions you want,
Yep.
because they're
Refresh
valid.
my memory on the 50%. Is it allocated for something specific? You said Road and Bridge to
It
begin
goes
with.
to, it can only be used for schools and Road and Bridge. So we
Okay.
keep, just like the statute states, the 25% automatically goes to Road and Bridge, and the 25% automatically goes to the school districts. That's just split, it's done. So for Road and Bridge,
Commissioner, may I clarify one
Go
thing?
ahead.
It's 25% of the total
Yes, sorry.
is for the schools, and 25% of the total is for road and bridge. And then the Title III funding comes off separately. And then what you're talking about is the residual amount. So it isn't quite 50% because the Title III
Take out the
funding
Title III is like
what,
$47,000.
Yeah.
And then we have specifics that we can use that for. We have some, which we've purchased radios. This year we're looking at,
For the Title III?
yeah,
Yeah, there's very specific or specific purchases.
that
you
we
make with
can
that money.
utilize that for, but that doesn't affect the money that we're talking about here today. So of the total, the 47,000, and I'm rounding, comes off the top.
Yeah, 47,000 of Title III funding is for public safety, is
Yep.
what it's earmarked for. But what the schools are required to get is 25% of the total amount. So you can, if you look at the line that's highlighted, the total including the Title III funding, they get 25% of that. So
Correct.
it's greater than 25%. It's closer to a third of the total funding.
So you can, if you look at the formulas up there, you can see what the calculation is for the Title III, and then the 25%, basically the 50,000 that's going to the schools right now.
Well, I would just speak on, as a group, that we would work closely together. I think two areas that our conversations have circled around, if you were to give us some of the funding. One is around our CTE programming and working with our area businesses to build partnerships and things like that. So that would be one area I think our group could collaborate on and use the money to make sure that our students are getting those real world experiences with businesses and industry that have those partnerships built. So there's a gap there. That's been something that's been we've been talking about, especially under some of the new legislation around post-secondary and workforce readiness. So that would be an area that we would collaborate and utilize the funds on. And I think around safety, we would also just say we have a lot of students at risk and need those kind of higher level direct services when they are showing a risk to themselves or others, and that we would always utilize those funds, especially knowing some of our title funding, some of the federal funding is not as high as it used to be. I think you're noticing it. So I just thought I'd jump in and advocate for if you were to give it, push back some of the money to the school, and how we would work as a group to think about the needs that the community has identified and that we've identified as a school that would support all students. So.
Okay.
Well, I want to communicate that we understand it's a collaborative process between the county commissioners and the school districts. We're clearly fine as when there's a need in the county. We depend on you to let us know when, like, there's some years that you've reverted more money back to the school. And we enjoy the partnership that we have with the county. So I think that we're on the same team, and I am at least, comfortable with that decision based on the county, on your share of the 25% for road and bridge.
Do you have anything to add? Okay. Well, as you all know what the price of oil is doing out there right now, right? You're probably paying the highest you have for fuel that we have in all, maybe forever. So it does impact what we do as far as a county, as far as our chip seal projects. We just had a bid come in last week. We opened them up, and we had allocated or budgeted $415,000, and our oil cost came in at $491,000. We still have to maintain our roads and take care of our roads so that we can get people to and from. So I'm not saying that yours is any more critical than ours, but I'm just saying that you have to understand where we're at on this side of the page also. So I think that's why we get everybody in here to have this discussion, so that we can do that. I don't know, commissioners, what are your thoughts right now?
I agree. Price of that, I thought it would be higher, than we anticipated, but not that much higher.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, absolutely, we are in support of whatever the commissioners decide about what our whole community needs. Just, we always want to make sure that, since we don't get to sit and have this conversation with you often, just knowing that we're really working as a team to support our students and families, and so we just appreciate being a part of the conversation.
Okay.
And when it does snow, your bus routes are our priority.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Well, it's not just the bus routes,
Yeah.
it's really the kids in the buses, getting them to and from safely. And sometimes you guys just cancel the day, which makes it easier for us, because it's like, okay, gives us a little bit of time. I know you don't hear that from us, but in reality, it really does give us a little bit more time. However, we still have to get out there and take care of them, because they're still major routes or major thoroughfares for the rest of the county, so.
Even if they don't have to go to school, parents got to go to work.
I don't know. Commissioner, what's your thoughts?
Well, I tell you, we've chip sealed and improved a lot of roads here in this county, and if we don't keep up with them, we're gonna lose what we've got. And that's, to me, we need to maintain our maintenance, because I don't wanna say we've been lacking, but we're not keeping up. And this would help us at least keep up for this year, get them chip sealed back to save those roads, because if we don't do it, we're gonna lose some of them. So, to me, we need to consider doing that to make sure we maintain our road system. That's just my
Which
opinion.
maintains the bus systems, which maintains the kids, which gets them to and fro. So I think what I'm hearing, and if you guys are okay with it, this year we would allocate that money back to Road and Bridge. And let's see what next year brings. Hopefully, if you all can change what's happening and the price of oil can drop dramatically,
Yeah.
I'd be in on that too.
Yeah, we'll see.
But, yeah, we were pretty shocked, but we know that we're gonna have to go ahead and, spend the money to get what we have to get done again this year.
And if you have contact with our federal legislators, bend their ear. We do.
Anything else you need to add, Rob?
But hopefully they'll keep funding this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
worked hard to get where it's at.
'Cause
Thank you.
it's a problem.
And I will thank all of our congressional leaders, Congressman Hurd, Senators Bennett and Hickenlooper. Those guys all fought really hard for us in the state of Colorado to actually be able to get this, along with a bunch of the other senators from other states on the western side of the United States that actually understand what this is for. We will again be back there in September to advocate for SRS and PIL, but it really does help. And when we don't get it, you guys obviously on the other side of it know how.
Yeah. You face the
doesn't
same
win.
problem we do with federal lands. I mean, we've only got 27% of actually all of our properties here that we can rely on for property taxes. Now, if we could get the feds to pay a property tax,
Gotta figure something out.
yeah.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Come for a visit anytime.
All right, next up, we'll discuss a letter of support for the Upper Pine Road 42 water project. And I think online, saw the hand wave there.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can kind of give us your spiel here.
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm Laura Rieck, the District Administrator for the Upper Road 42 Local Improvement District, which is part of Montezuma County. As you are all well aware, this project is the progression of this project has been limited by funding opportunities. Still in the same boat, so we are reaching out for congressionally directed spending from Senators Bennett and Hickenlooper's office. They are doing a joint application this year for CDS funding. So we have drafted a letter of support for the county commissioners to review and consider for this project. And I want to mention that the draft letter that I sent you has an error in it. It does say the total estimated cost of the project is $2,694,720. The congressionally directed spending is an 80-20 match. And so reduce that amount by 20%. We will be requesting $2,155,776 for the project. And we would be responsible for the 20%. So that's the error that I wanted to correct in there. Essentially, we're just requesting that the commissioners review and approve this letter to send with our application. The application was due last month in March, but they did say because they're aware that the commissioners need to approve it, and they cannot do that unless it's at an actual meeting, we can attach a draft letter to the application, and then when we have an approved and signed letter, we can send that as an amendment to our application. Are there any questions?
I really don't have any. I know that we've been supporting you guys all the way through this project, through our land use, through breaking off properties for the water tank, and I think it'll be great for those residents up there. I really don't have any questions at this point in time.
I don't.
No, I don't either. It's fine.
Okay, all right.
And I should mention too, we did submit an application and another letter to HERD's office. We did receive an email back saying that the project would not be considered for 2027 spending, but we're moving forward with Bennett and Hickenlooper's application.
Okay, well, good luck. We'll make this
Thank you very
decision
much.
tomorrow. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye. All right, next up is our discussion on our Title III funding for personal protective equipment. Travis, do you have that up?
So commissioners, what we've got here is Title III funding, and as indicated previously, Title III funding can only be expended on limited items. So in the past, we purchased a vehicle for the emergency manager. We purchased some radios. This year, we're focusing on the sheriff's office with the $47,000. And part of that is expenses of non-disposable personal protective equipment and electronic aids, such as GPS devices in anticipation of responding to emergencies. So when we reached out, the Title III, I'm not even sure what to call them because they really don't involve themselves anymore. We was trying to get some guidance. They says, do the best you can with what you got. And so we're going to look at doing some rifle armor and vest carriers and possibly some helmets. But we have to have this posted within the paper for 45 days as to what we're looking to allocate that funding to.
Okay.
Question?
No.
Can you explain this just for the public? Because, I mean, I had to ask the question, but obviously it's more of a rifle armor. It's not just a.
Yeah, it's designed to defeat rifle fire. So the city of Cortez uses Angel armor, and that's kind of what we went with. Was the Angel armor. So my understanding is the carriers will also hold soft armor, but then it also allows for these
For the
rifle
plate
plates.
to be inserted?
Yes. And reason we're putting it out now, we don't anticipate that this, even if we got it ordered, you're probably looking at close to October, November before they even show up.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Questions, either one?
I'm good.
Anyone? Okay. Next, we have court security grant. Sheriff. And Travis. Okay, and Rob. Okay, whoever wants to go first.
This grant request, it's a court security grant that we have applied for in the past. You discussed it a little bit earlier in the meeting with Chief Judge Plewe and Eric Hogue. And what this grant does, it provides funding to support security at courthouses. What our request that we have put together, it's similar to what we did, I believe 2 years ago was the last time we received it, was funding for one position. For salary and benefits. And that is $68,000.
Okay, sure.
Well, when this was brought to me, I knew this came out, and because, and you heard it from Eric also, we haven't been able to get any funding for the last 2 years for it at all. Okay. The problem that I have with it now is that the situation that I'm in, I do not attach an FTE to a contract or a grant, because when that goes away, what happens to this person?
Yeah.
No. Just, I don't agree with that, and I can't agree to that, because I'm setting somebody up to fail. And I have to utilize someone that already has been trained within the agency, which is where the court security deputies come from, is from the detentions division, okay? Yeah, I need another one. I only have 3, okay? I used to have 4. But because of personnel cuts and whatnot, I haven't been able to fill that. I'm doing the very best with the limited numbers that I have. And so, I guess what I'm saying is that I don't want to attach an FTE to this. I have no problem with the funding, but if the funding goes away, I don't want to lose an FTE. Gentlemen, I don't.
So let me ask you this question after the conversation that we had earlier. If you don't attach an FTE to it, it could still be utilized to add the additional overtime for increasing the operational hours? Is that correct? It doesn't have to be attached to an FTE is the way I understand it, unless I'm incorrect from what they were saying.
It doesn't specifically have to be attached to an FTE for the grant. It can be for supplies, equipment, staffing, various
So the current
things.
FTEs that we have, it could go to allocate for overtime for them to be able to keep the broader range
Sure.
of the hours open. So
Sure.
I would say, why would we still not go for it? And I
Because-
get what you're saying.
Okay,
Don't,
thank you.
don't
I
attach an
appreciate it.
FTE to
Yes.
somebody that's gonna go away next year because you don't have the funding.
Yes.
However, if we do get the funding, we don't have to attach the FTE, we can just broaden their hours for the overtime.
In the past, what it has done,
Operations.
okay, is that it goes toward a deputy's salary, it can go toward overtime, and I think some of it can even go to training. So with that, that's what I've done with it in the past when I had it, is that it paid, which saved the county money. But we already are in, year 26 funding. And so the FTE is already being funded in the personal salary line item. So this would go into effect July 1 and go until June 30th of next year. And so what do you do with that? What do we do with that funding if it's granted? I think that we can probably come up to some type of an agreement and understanding, so long as that we do that now, that we understand that we're not attaching somebody's job to this,
I
okay?
know, I 100% understand what you're saying, because of what you said, you don't want to set somebody up to fail. However, by expanding their overtime, it seems like we could make the courts function better and/or training and/or something else. But as long as we don't have to attach the FTE to this funding, but we can utilize the FTEs that we currently have, I would say, why would we not
Apply
ask for it?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we're going to get it.
I think, just to clarify, I think the way we were looking at it is the court security positions are they're inside your jail budget, which currently has 34 allocated FTEs to it. This would temporarily increase that to 35 for the year, or for the Colorado year, July 1 to June 30th. That would allow you to have an extra position. We have funding for it.
Can't do that.
But it wouldn't have to be a specific person attached to it, because you do have enough turnover that when this grant ends, just drop it back.
Trying to stop that, okay? There's no guarantees with that, Robert, okay?
I mean, I know there's no guarantees with that. Hold on, let me switch, because
There you go. Poor guy. I guess mine's still working.
let's see if this one's still working. I realize that there's no guarantees with that, but we do recognize that we do have a regular turnover rate in the staffing in that budget. So the idea we were looking at was this would just be a temporary supplemental funding for that. And it's not that the person would be attached to it, it's just that you'd temporarily go up to 35 in that budget, and then when this funding goes away, then it would drop down to 34, which basically would mean whenever you have a position turnover, you just wouldn't refill it.
So
That's a gamble.
does that include the 2 additional FTEs that we funded this year?
Yes.
Okay. So again, why would we not go after this grant?
Well, I think we go after the grant, but I can guarantee you that if you're attaching an FTE to it, you're more likely to get
Yeah,
the grant.
yeah.
If you're not attaching that, you're just putting anything out there. I can understand where they would be reluctant to give you the money. I mean, if you, I mean, that's just my opinion. I think you're way more likely to get the grant if you do attach an FTE to it. I mean, it's sad to say.
Which
but
I understand what you're
It's
saying.
probably just a fact, because that's what they're looking for.
So then, in a nutshell, to make it real simple, we all agree we should go after the grant. Odds of it getting funded are whose guess? They haven't done it for the last
Okay.
2 years, 3 years. So,
Okay, I'm
it
not
may
a
be-
gambler, okay? I don't gamble. All right, I stick with what I know will work. And the thing is that if it's funded, you can utilize that toward salaries, and it's still savings within the sheriff's budget.
and I
Does that
think
make
that's
sense?
what Rob
Yeah.
just said.
Without attaching an FTE, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that's
Yes.
what you just said, yeah.
I think part of their ask was maybe additional overtime so they could open back up at 7:30 in the morning.
Sure,
And these funds
exactly.
could be used for that
For
overtime.
a year, you bet.
So it's
Okay.
FTE
It's
that
not
are
an
current,
FTE, but
we're
it's
just not
paying for.
adding.
Yeah,
It's paying for a deputy that's already there, but it's not attaching another FTE. Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah.
Because you're still receiving the funding
Yeah.
from July 1, because we have to report, we have to attach somebody's salary to that report, okay? That's not
Yep.
attaching an FTE to the grant, okay?
No, but for
Okay,
the grant
I just-
report,
it's
for the
just-
grant
it's
reporting, yes,
attaching
you do have to report
an
what you're paying.
existing FTE to the funding.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? And it's
Yeah.
still savings within the lineup.
Yeah, no, I think we're all clear.
So long as we all understand that, I don't have a problem with that then,
Okay,
okay?
well then,
We're gonna take out the FTE.
we will apply for the grant. Copy that?
Okay? All right.
Very good. All right, don't go anywhere. Or you either, Sheriff. Because the next bullet point is a discussion related to the countywide fire ban. I know that we had put it off again just because we had gotten some much-needed moisture. And I don't know where you're at, but I mean, I think we're still okay for another week to 10 days, just because it sounds like we're supposed to get some more moisture. My biggest concern are the winds and what it does as far as the drying effect, and then looking at the southern. So what are you hearing right now?
Well, I mean, it always depends on the situation of the year. It's always been that way.
Yep.
Right now, it's still greening up. We still have good control burning days ahead of us for a short while, okay? Not all of the fire districts are on board with wanting to put in a fire ban. The Forest Service and BLM are not looking at putting in any fire restrictions for a while either. They're going to be scheduling control burns. So, because this is countywide and it affects the entire county, it's still the problem that we've always had. And so, I think that if you would, let's look and see. I have to trust our citizens with all of the information that's been put out there about how to do a control burn properly. They still have to, under the county ordinance, call dispatch before they burn to find out whether or not they can. Okay, and that's been working so far. So let's continue to just watch this. And what I've asked is that when it gets closer to that time where I think that our moisture is drying up and things are looking to where it's going to be a potential problem, then I'm going to ask to be put on the agenda so we can talk about when you would want to see that happen. Is that all right?
Yeah,
It's good.
Good.
sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, all right. And just keep in mind, a fire ban is not going to prevent a fire, okay? It's
No,
not. All right, it just doesn't. Common sense really has to rule here, and we've been doing all of these meetings with people and the public and all the information that's out there. Let's hope and pray that, that common sense will prevail with most of them. There's still some, okay, that it won't. There's always that few out there that cause the problems for all of us. But right this moment, until maybe toward the end of the month, first week in May, let's take a look. I'm going to be watching this constantly. We still have more weather that's coming in. So,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
Fair enough. We'll talk
All right.
at the end of the month.
thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay, moving right along. Department heads, assessors at the top of the list. Miss Leslie.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
So, not much going on in the assessor's office. We're getting out notices of value to any accounts that have changed since notices went out last year. Any new buildings we've picked up, new construction, using Eagle View to get any new buildings, things like that. We have about 400 going out, which is a pretty big year for a intervening year for us. So that'll mean protest period from May 1st to June 8th, and then probably have maybe some CBOE hearings after that. We'll just have to see how the protest period goes. I do have two abatements that are coming up that'll come before you. One will be, my suggestion will be to approve the abatement. It was a property that was taken out of ag, it's up the Dolores River, and it actually has a conservation easement on it, so we're gonna need to put that back into ag. It's a big one, so it'll have to be approved by you guys and then the state. I have another one over by Mancus that they are requesting an abatement and to be moved back to ag, and I'm gonna deny that one. And then that'll be up to you guys to make that decision, whether you wanna move it back to ag or not. Those will
Okay.
be coming up. We're just working on new construction, getting all of that picked up for 26, put on tax roll for 27. And then I was gonna make sure you guys were aware of the tax rate changes for 26. Residential rates going to 6.
Oops, excuse me, sorry.
Goodness gracious.
It's touchy.
You don't have to throw stuff at me. Residential rate is going to 6.8 this year. The school rate's staying at 7.05. And that is after the 10% of the first $700,000 for residential reductions that are going to be happening this year also.
Okay.
Any questions or any comments?
I mean, are they ever gonna quit messing with it?
I know the current bill that's changing all of this stuff, I believe it goes through 28.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just don't know what to expect after 28, right? I don't know. I truly feel that once Gallagher got voted out, then they just have had a kind of a free slate to do whatever they wanted to do with our assessments. Unfortunately.
Okay.
You know, a little stability would go a long
A little
ways.
stability would be great, and it would really help taxpayers a lot to even be able to
budget.
to sort of budget what their taxes are gonna be. That has
Yes.
been our biggest complaint since tax bills went out, because so many things happened this year with the $55,000 reduction going away, the school assessment rate hitting it the same year, and then a reval year all on top. We had 3 huge whammies that happened to every single taxpayer in this county,
Yes.
and no one understands what's going on because people just don't keep up with the goings on.
Plus the bonds that were approved by the voters. So like
Oh, the school
Dolores,
bonds, yes.
Yes.
that school district, those people over there took a huge hit. But,
Yes, town of Minkus had a very large increase in their taxes. I mean, we all did, but there's certain areas that had bigger ones than most, and, you know, the office has been extremely busy, probably the busiest we've ever been when tax bills have went out, has been this year, explaining to everybody what's going on.
okay,
And it's not their actual assessment, it's what's happened with the state that we have no control over.
Right.
So, but I'll be getting on the agenda. I'll get with Kim and Vicky to get on the agenda for those 2 abatements. And we'll bring them over and we'll go from there. Probably both of them will be Zoom.
okay,
So
very
that's all
good.
I have.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right. Next up, building and ground, Dustin. Good afternoon.
We've had our fire extinguishers all inspected and the kitchen hoods at the annex, the fairgrounds, and the jail kitchen. We did a HVAC filter change out in all the buildings. We had an indoor air quality test done at Annex 3, and it came back good.
Did we get those on a regular maintenance program of, what did we talk about? It was like annually or something because of the issues that were, is that what we did?
Well, I spoke with John from Envirotech, and he thought that it wasn't a big deal to have them on an actual schedule unless you have them in advance. That, you know, like made a roof leak or flood or something like that. But we can do whatever we do. That's his suggestion.
Okay,
When we built and installed a gate for the shooting range out there
Mhm.
by the landfill, we replaced a radiant heater out at the Pleasant View shop. There's the old one, and we've worked on it a few times, and it's getting harder to find parts, so we just changed it out. They started spraying some weeds. We're still waiting on the engineering on the parking lot. Hopefully this week.
Hey, Dustin, is your mic on?
There we go. Oop. Success.
And then I sent Kate the information on the buildings for that building assessment, and she hasn't got back with me on a schedule for them yet.
okay.
Tree.
Tree,
All the
sorry.
trees out front.
I knew
Tree,
you were gonna
one.
ask
I
that.
have 2 quotes on taking them down, and I'm waiting on a 3rd one.
Did we
So-
have somebody look at them?
Well, the one on the east side anyway is, unless you just wanna take the one down,
The one on the east side looks pretty dead.
yeah.
Did the arborist,
Well, the one that came and tested it last time, he texted me a while back and said it was looking bad, so, I mean, we can reassess it if you'd like, or bring it down, but it looks,
Well, we walked by it last Tuesday, walking back to the building, and you can just see more dead in it all the time, and I know it's gonna be probably a big deal, but, I mean, we can't just let it
Yeah, we don't
continue
want
to
it falling
fall
into
and-
the street or onto the
Yeah.
building.
So, okay, we'll send the quotes forward to Travis and then we'll look at them. But that's just one or both?
the quote is for both. Would you rather only take one down?
Well, I think what the question was, and I think Commissioner Lindsay asked this, is did the arborist give us an actual, yes, it's dead, it should go, or is there any way to salvage it?
Yeah,
So,
I'd-
before we just cut it down, I think we owe
Okay.
it to ourselves to make sure that it's truly dead before we just cut it down and get it out of the way.
There.
They're dying.
Yeah.
I mean,
The one on the
They're
west
definitely
looks a
done.
lot better than the one on the east.
Yeah.
And I
And
don't know
by-
if it's drought stress or disease or
well,
what, but
by removing the one, it might be able to salvage the other one. I don't know. That's why we wanted to ask the arborist
All right.
what's,
Yeah.
Emily over at Extension has got some arborist names, so.
Okay. I'll go speak
Yeah.
with her. The last guy, he just drilled it and make sure it wasn't hollow, and that's all he did. So,
yeah, it wasn't hollow, but it's dead.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well,
Anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you.
thanks. IT. Mr. McLean, come on down.
Good afternoon. I'll start by saying tomorrow, I hope they're here in time. I'm replacing these microphones.
Okay,
I ordered
good.
them last week and I thought they'd be here today, but they're not. So, but they are on my list. Just a quick update and then we can go on to the fiber talk. We started our project of replacing all the card readers with the Verkada, which was part of the budgeted project, and we've got maybe 12 doors done in this building. We got 5 left to do, and then we'll start working our way through the rest. So, just
I
letting
gotta
you know.
tell you, I like it, because walking close to that door now, it just opened up for me, and I don't have to do anything.
That's right, and if
So
you
it's-
have your phone with you, you can leave it in your pocket. You can just wave your hand over the readers and they'll open. I know, technology is
That's
wonderful.
kinda cool.
Except for those people that have Androids, I'm really fighting that one still, but that's a whole other conversation. But we are working on that. The real reason for today was to just have a real quick conversation about the fiber. I think a couple of weeks ago or so, 3 weeks ago, Christine from 2210 and I came in and we talked about doing an addendum to allow them to manage any of the new fiber that we're putting in as part of the CPF funding that's going from here to Memphis and on. And I sent that off a couple weeks ago, or right after that, I sent that addendum off. So I think that's something that we have to get handled pretty quick because that fiber's being built. And part of that is kind of hinging on us supplying Empire Electric with their strands out of that. Also, some other things that are being handled through that fiber. So I think that's something that we need to consider getting handled. That right there is actually, I don't think we're ready to have that conversation yet. That's the MOU between the City of Cortez and Montezuma County when we built the express fiber. I think that's a whole nother conversation. This is the important one here. So part of this is also, this is an agreement that 2210 is working to sell 144 strands of fiber to the Ute Mountain Ute tribe. When we first put in the express cable, there was conversations back then that we were trying to encourage the tribe to use this express fiber because then they wouldn't have to build 6 miles of fiber on top of what they already built. We could just terminate in the hut down on G2 and then pick it up in the 2210 meet me location, and then from there it's going on. So it looks like they've worked out an agreement with us. We stand to make a little bit of money off of this finally and get some of our money back on what we invested in the fiber. Plus we're still getting quarterly as well as just for the fiber that's already in the ground. So that's what this lease is for, this one you're looking at right now. But this is something that we had already given 2210 the ability to do for us. And we've already signed that agreement with them, allowing them to go out and make these kind of arrangements and agreements, because we are in no position to manage the fiber. We just don't have, as we agreed a long time ago, we don't have the staff or the equipment. So that's what that one's for. And I think the other one that was on here that I had sent along had to do with the way that the COG, the Southwest COG and the county, and the way the fiber is kind of being managed and all of that in there. And I think that's all this is 2210 is going back to Region 9, or the COG in this case, saying we'll manage this section of fiber for you, and I think that's what this is referring to.
Okay, so this one then is not that critical for tomorrow?
It is not. The
Okay.
one that's critical
The one that's
is the
critical is-
addendum that I sent a couple weeks ago.
Is letting 2210 go ahead with the
Manage
agreement?
the extra strands of fiber.
Yes.
To the Utes,
What's that?
to sell
For
it to
the-
the Utes.
To
No.
manage,
That's
To manage
just
it?
to manage it. So there's two pieces
Okay,
to this.
I got it now.
to manage the 24,
We want them to manage the 24 strands of
Strands,
fiber
yeah.
that we're getting out of the CPF funding that Clear Networks is building along the highway down over to Mancos and then up to Dolores. And out of that 24 strands, then some of that fiber goes to Empire Electric as part of the partnership agreement to allowing us, and I say Clear Networks, to hang it on their poles. And then we retain our share of that fiber. That's the piece that we need to get reserved back and allow 2210 to manage as part, just like they do the express cables. So, because they're working on some plans right now to be able to lease some of that dark fiber from here to Mancos. But
so,
without the addendum, they can't legally manage those 24 strands of fiber.
so just the contract addendum for 2210 and us?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. That's all we need to talk about then.
Yes, that is it. I just want you to be kind of abreast of the whole picture, so
Right.
you know, if somebody says something, you kind of get the whole picture. We're working on other stuff with the tribe and fast tracking some other things, but
Okay.
yes, right now it's just strictly getting the addendum done so they can manage the extra strands. That's it.
For 2210, okay, questions?
No.
Okay,
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. Thank
very
you.
good, thank you. GIS,
Guess this thing's on. So I prepared a project. It's been ready to go for a couple weeks, but I wanted to bring it before the board before I send out these notices. Essentially what we did is we did another review on what are, I don't want to call them all vacant properties, but they're non-residential properties that have addresses, many of which have inaccurate addresses or guess addresses out there. And I didn't want to send it out without the board knowing, getting calls, the administrator getting a call, and not knowing what the project was. If you guys are okay with it, we'll plan on sending this out later this week, and the property owners will probably receive their notices next week. But what we have, going back to 2016, when we were really doing some work on our addressing database, we had properties. It's going back even further. The assessor, when they were doing addresses, would assign addresses to every single property, even if it was vacant with no driveway on it, because they just wanted to generally know where it was in the county. That caused problems because we didn't know where an actual driveway was. In 2016, we sent out about 1,400 TBD address notices to properties that had no identifiable driveway access at all and no structures at all. But we left properties, non-residential properties, that had some identifiable driveway or any structure. because we just didn't have the means to go out and really identify those that we do now, better imagery, the pictometry. So that solved a lot of problems there, but we've had a couple cases in the past year where, there's some dilapidated old structures and an old driveway off the county road, and somebody will start doing a house, and we'll hear about it, and then the road department's calling me. Why do they have an address? They'll get behind on their septic and their road impact fees, and properties like that really don't need to have address. They need to have a proper address assigned when that use becomes determined. So that's the gist of it. We reviewed all of those. We reviewed them with pictometry. We wrote all the notes, and a lot of the addresses. For instance, it could be an ag use building, way up say 18 in BB that has a guest address, and somebody built a large hay barn, but it's off the wrong road. It borders two roads, and in those notices they're going to get a notice saying, just let us know if you need an address. We'll assign a proper site address for your property, and there's no problem doing that. Let us know that you want an address. We'll get a proper one assigned, and then hopefully at that time they'll also get a 911 address marker out there at the driveway access to the county road. So that is the intent. But with all of these, I'm sure we'll hear back on quite a few of these saying, yes, we do need an address. Say, absolutely, we'll give you an address. Make sure that you get a 911 marker installed at that location. And then there's a few in there, not a majority of them, where, back in 2021, 22, somebody came in with some development plans on a piece of property. They were good to go. The roof was paid. They submitted a sketch map, and then they didn't do anything. So we're removing that address for the new property owner to say, no, this is where I'm going to install the driveway, and restart development. So that is the gist of that project. I don't know if you have any questions about that, but
I don't have any questions. I just know that when it changes people's address, they get very,
Get upset.
yeah, very. We've had those conversations in here before.
yeah. And this should be a
Very.
pretty easy one, but it's like, oh, well, you need one, sure, you can have one, just we'll get it corrected, we'll get it assigned, and then we always make notes, well, okay, this is an ag access, and we have that conversation. If you're gonna put a residence on there, you have to let us know, because the road department sees an ag access versus a residential access as, two different things.
Two different, yeah.
So it's more of a conversation, but yeah, we had one this morning where somebody was upset that we assigned a second address to their property, and we said, well, you have two houses, and they said, well, I don't want a second address. Like, well, not really changing anything.
Okay.
So there's that, and then, just notice that, I know we've talked about the NextGen 911 projects over the years. Nothing really seemed to take too much hold. A lot of it was planning and stages, but it really seems like the state does have things in place within a contract with Entrado to get the NextGen 911 transition started. They have, we've signed up, we've gone through the trainings. We're uploading data to get all of our PSAP data uploaded into those systems. The Colorado NG 911 board has a program where we submit our data. They send it through their tools and let us know, our readiness or errors or data preparedness for those tools. So that is actually finally happening, and it seems like they have their stuff together to make that happen. So that's, I'm sure we're still, it'll still take a number of years, but that is a positive development. And I just think back when when we convinced Assessor Vanderpool to let GIS take over addressing back in 2009, and he was like, you can have it. I should have taken that as a warning, because we've spent thousands of hours on this. However, we wouldn't be ready for NextGen 911 if we hadn't been working on our addresses all these years, so.
Which is critical,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It is now, yeah. We never even had an address point structure database back then, so. So that's pretty much where we're at.
All right, well, we'll wait for the 299 property owners. That'll be an inspirational conversation. All right, thanks, Doug.
Thanks.
All right, natural resources and weeds. Let's talk about weed first. Yeah.
All right, good afternoon, gentlemen.
How are you?
Find my weed section here. Okay, within the Noxious Weed program, the cost share applications are currently open. And so we've got, probably about a dozen so far. It feels like we're off to a little bit of a slow start, which is a little bit surprising. But anyway, we've had that happen before, so we'll just see what happens with that. Russell has been hitting the road shops and fairgrounds, and then he'll be focusing on gravel pits next, and that'll be kind of a pretty high priority since we're under lease on those. He's also been working on the ATV and kind of rearranging some things out there in the shop. The ATV seems to have an electrical issue that's draining the battery. We haven't completely pinpointed what that is yet, but we should have that figured out here before long. We've got the road department shop foreman helping us with that too. So we've got a proposal for a qualified supervisor right-of-way specialist. The qualified supervisor will provide a combination of classroom and on-the-job training for the Noxious Weed Department technician and the road department employees. So that way you can legally resume right-of-way spraying. And so that proposal, I can go over that with you right now if you like.
Sure.
Okay. So this proposal is from Southwest Weed Control. So this will include 12 hours of classroom training, and then it will also include 59 hours total of on-the-job training. The classroom training will be, the cost on that is $1,320. There's some prep work for that, which has been included, and that will be $880. The on-the-job training for 59 hours would be $6,490, plus prep work for that, which will be an additional $880. There's about $385 worth of study material. The total proposal is for $9,955, and that includes any of the additional training or on-the-job oversight, which will be billed at a rate of $110 an hour. And so again, that was from Southwest Weed Control.
Okay. Question?
And I will get you the copy of this so we can make sure that Travis has it and we can all review it together.
Okay. Questions, Commissioner? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so we also got two proposals for doing right-of-way spraying to try to get somebody out and help us out a little bit early here this year. The first proposal we got is from, let's see, it'd be Advanced Environmental Solutions. And so this is a proposal. The total cost is $9,500. They plan to use herbicide called E2 plus Milestone, P90, and Highlight. So all areas would be sprayed, and I provided a map to both of these, to all three of the people that we've asked for proposals from. And so that would include about, as I recall, it's about 22 miles worth of road down south. And it's basically from County Road G south, and primarily to the west side of Highway 491 down there. So then the other proposal that we got was from Horizon Environmental Services, and their proposal came in at 3 levels. The first level was they're saying 5.75 miles of road. It's that same area, work off the same map, for $5,146.25. So that would be 5.75 miles of road. The second level would be for 8.25 miles of road, and that the same area, and the total cost on that would be $7,383.75. And then at the top tier level would be 10 miles of road, and that came in at $8,950.
Okay. So this basically just kind of gives us a shot in the arm for Road and Bridge to get going south.
That's correct.
Where the conditions are already worthy.
That's right.
And then the other one is the training for working with you all to give the higher level of expertise or licensing or whatever you call it for that. So
that's correct.
All of these are under $10,000, so they're
Yeah.
pretty easy. Any questions? Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. And then just also might mention that so we had Don Morris come out because he had started using that truck originally. He came out, looked over the truck with us. He'll come out again, and we'll get the road department, everybody together on it, and so we have a quick little training session. We've also found a training video that we can get from North Star, who produces the spray equipment. So we'll get that truck figured out. There are a few little things with the truck that still need to be fixed, but pretty minor. The road department's already taken a crack at it, and so I think we're in pretty good shape with that truck. And looking forward to getting Don out and giving us all some pointers on how to operate that
Lesson.
thing. So,
Perfect.
okay.
Awesome. All right.
Should we go into natural resources?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, continuing to participate in the Dolores Watershed Collaborative. We've talked about this in the past. We've been working on this for about a year now, but we've got the Wildfire Ready Action Plan getting pretty close. So we've got the post-fire hazard analysis complete. We're moving into the susceptibility analysis and planning for the upcoming community workshops that we'll be starting to hold this spring and summer. CWCB has actually supplemented the grant that we originally got. They gave us an extra $50,000 to work with on this, and that'll pay for some extra modeling, and also provide some dollars for the DWC to get out and engage the community during those community meetings. So what we'll do is we're planning to do 5 total community meetings. So we'll hold the post-fire hazard susceptibility results in Dolores, Rico, and Toyac. We'll do the project identification and prioritization in Dolores, and we'll have the final project meeting in Dolores. So I'm anticipating probably around, I'm going to say probably August or September, we should be wrapping this up. And then also, we did apply for the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation Healthy American Forest Initiative grant. That was about $1 million grant proposal. We've talked about this before. That was the letter of proposal that of support the commissioners put out. So, and that pays for additional House Creek thinning, an extra 400 acres, expanded pre-post vegetation monitoring and soil moisture monitoring. It'll also help with the Wood for Life project, hauling wood down to Toyac and down onto the Navajo Nation. And that's to get rid of a lot of the POL that we couldn't use otherwise. It also includes 2 miles of road decommissioning plus boulder placement, and then riparian exclosure repairs along the House Creek drainage. And so as a part of that, still participating in the unauthorized travel routes, and that gets around to that road decommissioning. And so we've met for about a year on this, and we developed a methodology for recommending route closures on unauthorized routes. That's routes that are not in the travel plan. We put that criteria into a rubric, and then a couple weeks ago we went out for a field trip just to kind of give it a test run. It looks like it worked pretty good. So we identified a couple of roads up there in the House Creek drainage that looks like would be suitable for closing. I always get a little bit nervous about this. We've gone through this before in the past, but these particular stretches of road make a lot of sense because they're either parallel to the road or they're very short stretches that lead over to another part of the trail system that's not open to motorized use. So if they can kind of keep it working along these lines, we're probably in pretty good shape, and people can get their heads around this pretty good. The overarching kind of concept behind this is to really try to pick out areas where we've got good security areas for elk. Elk is kind of the proxy for the other wildlife up there. And so trying to keep unauthorized routes out of the areas that are set aside for elk is kind of the objective of this. I'm still actively participating in the Montelores Coalition. We're putting a couple of the DWC folks, Amarina and Nina, in on the roundtable. We've got the roundtable is right now open for applications. And that'll help us facilitate some of the crossover issues with recreation, particularly with some of the forest work that we're planning to do. Unauthorized travel routes, for example, is one of those, and some of that is tied to the CFLRP funding because part of that program included some route decommissioning. So the other things we've got the strategic recreation and conservation plan in place. And we're moving now from planning to implementation. So we're working on getting projects lined up for strike teams. There's not a lot of money out there right now. So what we're trying to do is just pick projects that have community relevance and kind of low dollar amount. And we'll contract with the Southwest Youth Corps as part of these strike teams. But so some of the initial projects that we're looking at, and of course these projects are open for basically proposals at this point. We'll analyze each one of the proposals and pick the ones that seem to fit the best. But the types of projects we're looking at this point are removal of derelict fencing that poses risk to wildlife and limits landscape connectivity, targeting noxious weed treatments in priority areas, and that will probably be mostly around trailheads and things of that nature. And then recreation site maintenance to improve recreation experiences and address damage. Let's see, I'll move on. Floodplain administration. The Mancos Conservation District is going to be doing some work on several head gates and weirs. And at this point, it looks like there are probably going to be about 4 floodplain development permits that we'll want to issue. And that would just primarily be for doing head gates and weirs themselves, anything that's within the floodplain right off of the main stem. Have one other proposal for development that's up the Dolores River, and I've been in contact with the engineer on that as well as the proponent. And it's just for a small shop, so we'll get the floodplain development permits put in place for that. Pasta Mesa Verde. We just went through the 90% final office review for segment A. That's from Cortez to the fairgrounds. And that was done last week. And so anyway, that portion of the project should be finalized by June. However, the Southwest TPR has also reallocated about $63,000 back into the project, and we'll continue to do work on segment A, which includes subsurface utility engineering, the chief engineer's cost estimate for right-of-way acquisition. That'll really help us put us in a position where we know what we have to look for when we go out to get dollars to line up those right-of-ways. We've got about 5 right-of-ways that we're going to need to secure, and there's a very strong possibility that some of those may get donated, but we still need to plan accordingly to make an appropriate offer on those. Would also pay for appraisals, update of environmental documents, and then plan limit adjustment. And again, we planned in segment B for the underpass that would connect to Phil's World. But we think that it would be better to put that into segment A because segment A is a higher value segment. And but anyway, we need to have a logical termini for that, and then that will provide a logical termini, and it'll help us look for federal dollars for that, because that's really the federal dollars are about the only thing we're going to be able to come up with that's going to be enough to be able to accomplish getting that trail implemented. Segment C and D, that's on the Manka side. That's still moving forward. I've got a meeting tomorrow with the Federal Highways Administration. I'll have to be making some contacts with some of the landowners for permanent easements on at least 4 drainage structures. They're not very large, but they still are going to require to have the property owner agreeing to the work. And then we'll be working on the utilities plan. We're going to have to finalize our approach to relocation and then determine who has to pay for the utility replacement. And so that, I guess that kind of wraps up my report for this quarter.
All right.
Any other questions?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I wish we were closer on the path to Mesa Verde, but it seems like we never get anywhere.
Yeah, it just seems like it's a
Slow process.
It's a slow
very
process already.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, very
Maybe we
good.
should have buried fiber in there.
I'm sorry?
Maybe we should have buried fiber underneath there.
Oh boy, you know, we tried that
Yeah,
angle.
I know.
We tried, believe me, pretty hard to see if we could combine those two projects and draft off each other. It hasn't worked out, although I'm still open, so we can figure some way out. We'll do it.
All right. Very good. Thank you, James.
Yep, thank you.
All right, last but not least, we have fundraising banquet? Brad? Yeah.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hi.
I like to say best for the last, right? But I'm here to give money, not take money or ask for money.
I'll
Just
turn
sit
that
you-
mic
there
on.
you go.
There you go.
So I'm looking to give money, not take or ask for money. I was with Friends of NRA for about 13 years. We had numerous events out at the fairgrounds. I think the issue now is alcohol and guns. So we had that there. We're trying to go this year under a new name because Friends of NRA is pretty much no more in our area. 23 of the 25 chapters closed. So I started up Heritage Fundraising. It's a 501c3. Looking to have the event at Annex 1 in the large room there. The complication then it's in city limits, but county building. And just trying to get the nod of approval of what we've done in the past 4 or 5 years of having liquor on site, but also guns that were given away and auctioning off in games. So I'm just trying to get that nod. I understand I have to come through you guys to get a permission for the city to actually move forward and issue the permits for everything. So we're looking to raise money for the Bullseye Archery, 4-H shooting sports being archery, shotgun, 22 rifle, and 22 pistol. Yeah, so we're just simply looking for the nod of approval. We worked with Justin at the fairgrounds for a number of years. We're just not big enough as a new entity to fill that void quite yet.
Oh.
Otherwise, we'd be out there. I'm looking to hopefully get out there next year or the year after and doing an annual fundraiser to give money back to the local community.
So it's just a smaller event. It's
Small
basically
event, 200 people or less.
different name, same event.
Same exact
smaller-
thing. Yep, doors
smaller
open at
venue.
5.
Same show, different name.
Yeah, hope to
Small.
see you there.
Yeah.
And that's a city of Cortez liquor license. We don't.
We won't issue it because,
Yeah.
but because it's a county building, you have to give your authority and your nod of approval to say, move forward.
So
I don't have no problem.
I can even say there's no ammunition in the room. We don't allow ammunition whatsoever. We've already worked with Blondies as far as having licensed trained
Yeah.
bartenders to come in so that people aren't over serving. Family friendly event. Yeah.
I really don't have an issue with it. I think if you're going to consume alcohol, you have to be responsible. But sometimes we don't get responsible people, and that's the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
It's sad, but I do think that most people can act responsibly, and if they're not, there's a force inside the city to take care of that. So,
Yeah.
Commissioner, questions or comments?
I don't have any problem with it.
Okay. Well, we'll make this decision tomorrow.
Okay.
Your insurance is on board, and
Do I need to be here for that tomorrow? Okay.
Hope
Awesome.
you do not, because actually looking at my agenda for tomorrow, it's probably going to be on a consent agenda, so no, it would be
Yeah.
kind of a waste of your time.
Okay. I've got training all day with CPS downstairs, so we'll stay on track there.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Have a good afternoon. And with that, we've come to the end of our agenda, and we are adjourned. Thank you all.